Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's virtual visit for UC Berkeley's virtual open house for the admissions office. My name is Eric. I will be one of your guides today. So I'll just introduce myself. I use he, him pronouns. I'm originally from Fresno, California. I'm a fourth-year student here studying society and environment, specifically U.S. environmental policy and management in the College of Natural Resources. And besides being campus ambassador, I'm involved in the UC Rally Committee, which is one of our spirit groups here on campus, promoting traditions and history. Part of Golden Bear Orientation, our orientation program for all of our new students. And I'm also part of Calston Philanthropy, which is a philanthropy organization that starts philanthropy right when you're a student, and Epsilon Eta, an environmental organization on campus. And now I'll present my other guy for today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Seneca. I'm so excited to be talking to you today. Welcome to our virtual visit. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers, and I'm originally from Goleta, California, which is on the central coast of California, and I'm a third year here at Cal. My major is molecular and cell biology. I'm also minoring in bioengineering, and a few of the things that I'm involved in on campus are Greek life. I also am involved in a bioprinting organization called Bioprinting at Berkeley, which modifies 3D printers to be able to print human tissues using fancy jello and cells. And then I also do both hip hop and contemporary dance with the organization DanceWorks, as well as help peer edit and review college applications and newspaper articles for a high school in Kenya. I do research in the bioengineering department. And lastly, I am on Cal Greek's Alcohol Task Force, which is an organization that during a typical semester aims to promote safe partying and alcohol consumption practices within Greek life. And I'm super excited to be talking to you all today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Seneca. Awesome. So let's just go through the agenda for today. So it's going to be a 15-minute presentation from the student perspective, us. You can type any questions that you have in the Q&A section that you'll see on your screen. We have campus ambassadors in the back end that are available to answer those, and we'll get to as soon as possible. This session will be recorded and available on our website as well, visit.berkeley.edu. You can also find other virtual visits there. We're going to talk about just like an overview of campus, academics, housing, dining, health and safety, student resources, the student life, athletics, libraries, and research, and also talk about how remote learning is working now that we've been virtual for a semester and a half. So first of all, welcome to UC Berkeley. These are just a couple of pictures of things you would have seen if we were in person on our campus. We're so excited to have you today. This year, we're actually celebrating 150 years of the first woman being admitted to UC Berkeley, something that we're incredibly proud of, a lot sooner than other schools on the East Coast did, so it's something to be proud of. We have over 150-year legacy here in the state of California. We've been here for a really long time, but I'll let Seneca talk a little bit more about our history.
Awesome. Yes, I am super excited to be chatting with you about Cal history. As Eric mentioned, we were founded in 1868, and we were actually the first of the 9 undergraduate University of California schools to be founded. So because of that, we go by a few different names, such as UC Berkeley, Cal, the University of California, to name a few. UCB, sometimes we don't love that one as much, but feel free to call us by any of those names. I know that I was super confused by the whole Cal versus Berkeley thing, but now you know. And as I mentioned, we were the first UC campus founded. Our mascot is the Golden Bears, and our walking mascot is Oski. He is a lovable bear that runs around campus, giving people hugs and cheering on our athletic teams. You can see him there on the slide in the bottom left-hand corner. And we do have a pretty good campus size. We have about 31,000 undergraduates and 12,000 graduate students. But don't worry, our campus itself, the physical campus, is actually pretty small, so you can walk to all of your classes, which I personally love. It's about 10 to 15 minutes to walk across campus, just depending on which way you're going. So very, very navigable. It's definitely very nice. And our campus has a ton of historical landmarks on it. We have South Hall, which is pictured at the top left of that slide, which is our oldest building. It was built in 1873, and I think it is just beautiful. We also have our 307-foot tall clock and bell tower, the Campanile, which you can see for miles as you're driving up to campus for the first time. Seeing that literally gives you the chills. It's honestly so gorgeous. And then, of course, Sather Gate at the bottom right is the site of many historical movements and just overall an amazing photo op for when you get your acceptance and can pose to say you're going to Berkeley. So definitely a great campus.
Now, just to talk a little bit about our culture here at Berkeley, we are very unique, we like to think, from a lot of other universities. We're a big public university, but we really are a campus of change makers, and that really comes just right from our history. The free speech movement originated here. If you don't know what that is, free speech movement was a movement to fight for political activism on university campuses across the nation, and the epicenter was really here at UC Berkeley. They fought extremely hard to get the rights that we have today for political activism on campus, and they're the same rights that we used to have any type of performances on campus, any events that are on campus. Those were fought for by students, for our students. There's a lot of leaders here at Berkeley, and that comes in a lot of different ways. People like to think that a leader is just like the person that's in charge of something, but no, people did amazing contributions before they got here to their communities, to their families, to whatever they're passionate about. That's something that we really strive for here. And if they don't believe they're change makers, they will by the time that they leave here at Berkeley. We challenge the status quo. We don't just take what already is existing in science, in different fields. We challenge that status quo. There's a lot of entrepreneurship that also happens on this campus. We are actually one of the #1 schools for entrepreneurs. We have a lot of startups that actually go on to succeed. That comes in part of with Skydeck, which is our startup incubator that we have on campus, which is really awesome. And there's a lot of research and innovation that happen. We're obviously a public university that does a lot of research, and you can get involved with that very early on in your time here at Berkeley. And part of that also is community. So we are part of the city of Berkeley, which very much are like basically the same as the campus. We're one and the same with that connection. Compassion, passion, and social justice are what drive most of the missions that students are doing through like their research, through their activities, extracurriculars that they're involved in. It's something that students are actively engaged in. Spirit and pride are often things that you'll see right there, pictures of the UC Rally community wearing that blue and gold, something that we're proud of. Diversity and excellence as well. This past year, our incoming class was the most diverse that we've ever had on our campus, which is incredibly awesome. We still have a lot of work to do, but it's a really good step in the right direction for our campus. And that comes with people like you who might be admitted to enter our campus. And public service. We have a public service center dedicated solely to public service, pairing up our students into public service wherever it is that they want to be involved in. They can do that. We're actually one of the #1 schools that's for sending students out into the Peace Corps. That's really awesome. One of my friends is planning on doing that, finishing up her studies at Berkeley. A couple more things about Berkeley culture. You'll see pictures on the left. You'll see our voice. That's like a rally that was happening on campus. I don't know specifically what they're advocating for in that picture, but that's something common that you'll see in Sproul Plaza, which is like the main heart of campus. The same place that happens is where we have our rallies, like you see in below with Cal Band, Cal Dance, and Cheer. And then I'll see a couple pictures of the research that happens on our campus. A lot of cool robotics programs. Again, like I mentioned, Skydeck is really awesome. That's where we got Kiwi bots from. If you don't know what Kiwi bots are, you should Google them. They're really awesome little robots around campus that deliver food. And then on the very far end, you'll see the UC Rally community in the top corner with Oski, our mascot, which we've talked about. And then in the bottom, you'll see the Campanile, which at its birthday celebration had actually really cool dancers on the side of it.
Yes, definitely. We are a very passionate campus. I can say that the Peace Corps drive is a real thing. My parents are both Peace Corps volunteers, and when they heard that, they were just over the moon for Berkeley. So definitely a very cool thing if that is something that you're interested in. We have a huge global impact, as you might have guessed. We have a lot of initiatives right now in education, COVID research, as well as advocacy and social justice. And so for education, of course, right now we have this whole virtual format. It's very new, it's very unique. And so we're working on making it accessible to everybody and making sure that all of our students have the resources that they need to succeed from anywhere around the globe. And this includes being able to ship people technology. We have the student technology program, and that basically will allow students to request hotspots, laptops, tablets, all of that good stuff. If it is something that they need for school, they can request it and they will be able to get it fulfilled through that program, which is absolutely amazing. And there's also a lot of remote youth programs going on. It can be so hard for little kids to be stuck on Zoom. And so we're definitely trying to reach out and make sure that kids are still staying engaged and excited about learning. COVID research is such a huge topic. So as I mentioned, I'm a molecular and cell biology major, and this means that I do a lot of different classes involving diagnostics and treatment. And so all of my classes right now are talking about COVID research, which I think is amazing. There's actually a huge trial test going on our campus right now through the Innovative Genomics Institute, and they're doing this saliva test to try and expand the range of COVID testing and make it more accessible, affordable, and generally just easier. It's self-administered. I've done it like 3 or 4 times now, and you just spit into a tube. It's very, very neat to see that sort of research being done literally just 2 blocks away from where I live. So very cool with that. And then, of course, we also have a huge advocacy and social justice presence with issues like human rights and anti-racism. We're really trying to take a proactive stance with combating these issues and making sure that all communities feel represented on our campus. And furthermore, really just trying to target trauma resilience and preventing burnout, because Zoom fatigue is real. I'm sure that everyone watching this presentation can relate to that. And we just want to make sure that we are really addressing that in every aspect of our community.
Definitely. Now let's go straight into academics. So we have 5 undergraduate colleges here at Berkeley. Those include the College of Letters and Science, which houses, we'll talk about each one of these colleges individually as we go throughout this presentation, so don't worry about that. Then we have the Rausser College of Natural Resources, my home college. We have the College of Environmental Design. We have the College of Chemistry and the College of Engineering. And so you'll see these 5 colleges as you're applying to the different UCs. When you get to Berkeley, you'll click what college you want to be in, and then you'll complete your application from there. So now we're going to go into each one of them specifically.
Awesome. So the first college we're going to be talking about is our College of Letters and Science. This is actually my home college as a biology major, and it houses over 3/4 of our undergraduate population. So you will likely experience the College of Letters and Science to some extent during your time at Berkeley. There's 5 divisions within the college, and those include arts and humanities, biological sciences, mathematical and physical sciences, social sciences, as well as undergraduate studies. And one thing that I personally love about the College of Letters and Science is that no matter what major you are, you're required to complete a 7-course breadth kind of set of courses, and they're from all different subjects, all of those ones that I've just listed. And so you really get the chance to explore and hone your interests and really just become a more well-rounded academic and individual in general. So there's 80+ majors to choose from. Don't worry, you don't declare right away. You have some time to kind of feel it out and kind of really target your interests. And one really fun fact about our college is that actually 17 out of our 25 Nobel laureates and prizes were won from this college. And that actually includes, a few weeks ago, we had our 2 2020 Nobel laureates, Jennifer Doudna, the 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for her development of the molecular gene editing technique CRISPR, which is amazing. I hear so much about this as a molecular biology student, and I think it is just fantastic. It's basically a tool that you can use to cut double-stranded DNA, and it has such wide-ranging applications in biology, medicine, chemistry. It's really, really impactful, and I'm so excited to really just learn more about it. We also had Professor Reinhard Genzel in the Department of Physics win the 2020 Nobel Prize in Physics, and he actually has won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of a supermassive compact object in the center of our universe. That basically means the discovery of a black hole, and his research really focused around that and prove existence of that, and that is just, it's so incredible. Oh, excuse me, I just get really passionate about these slides. It's so incredible to see research on our campus, and to be taught by people is really just an educational experience with others. So really just extend most sincere congratulations to our 2020 laureates.
Yeah, that's awesome. So before we get going any further, I want to remind you guys to please use the Q&A function on the bottom. There's a lot of ambassadors ready to type answers to all of your questions, so feel free to use that. But the Rausser College of Natural Resources, like I said, my college, every single one of the majors in there has some form of environmental focus. None of them don't do that. So there's biological sciences, nutrition and toxicology, ecosystems management, interdisciplinary studies, which I love to mention. Through interdisciplinary studies, you basically create your own major. You do this obviously with faculty sponsor, and you do it with an advisor. So you're creating your own curriculum as long as it proves that it's something that you're really passionate about, something that is feasible to be able to complete in 4 years that you have here at Berkeley. You can do it, which is really awesome. I have a lot of friends that have gone that route and been really successful in being able to apply that to whatever it is that they decide to do after Berkeley. There's social sciences, like I said, society and environment. That's something that you can find. There are a lot more programs for social sciences, and economics and policy. Environmental economics is a really popular major in the College of Natural Resources and just across our college. And it's a pairing between letters and sciences and the College of Natural Resources to get that specific environmental economics program. And the mission of the college is to see the bigger picture and make a better world. But every single program, every single student, every single organization that comes out of the College of Natural Resources has a focus on sustainability and social justice. It's not just about making sure that our planet stays green, that we have a bunch of trees everywhere, but how is that affecting people, and how are people being affected by these changes that we can make to our built environment, to our world, to more equitably provide a sustainable environment to everyone.
Definitely. We have such a great focus on environmental and really just making a better world through the College of Environmental Design. As Eric mentioned, there's the whole program with environmental economics and policy, and actually my roommate is in that major. So I've heard so much about it, and I really can attest to the amazing work that they are doing in that college. Our next college, the College of Environmental Design, I think I just said College of Natural Resources, or College of Environmental Design in place of College of Natural Resources. My apologies. But now we're going to talk about the College of Environmental Design. It is our smallest college, and it focuses a lot on design and really just making sure that these projects are sustainable. The mission statement is at the bottom of the slide, and I can just read it for you. It is to craft ecologically sustainable and resilient, prosperous and fair, healthy and beautifully built environments. And that really just is encompassed in everything that this college does. So there are 4 majors: architecture, landscape architecture, urban studies, and sustainable environmental design. So many opportunities to really delve deeper into the field of design and walk in the footsteps of Julia Morgan, Irving Morrow. He designed the Golden Gate Bridge, and really just these fantastic architects and designers who came before you from this college. One thing that I always like to highlight about the College of Environmental Design is how hands-on the learning is in this college. As you can see on the slide, there are pictures of Worcester Hall, which is the home of the college. And in those upper floors, all students have access to studio space where they can really just sit down and make projects, make models, do anything that's required for their classes, and really just develop the skills that they're going to need to go into a career in design or a career in architecture, all of these things. So the whole aim of the college really just shows that they want students to be prepared and they want students to have that hands-on experience, which I think is really incredible.
They really do. I've taken a couple classes in the College of Environmental Design, and they're really awesome. So, really focusing on the people part of architecture, which I really enjoy because it's not something that every architecture program does. That's one thing that really sets it apart and makes it be ranked number 4 globally. Moving on to the College of Chemistry. It's a really small college. It's one of our first colleges that we had here once we started UC Berkeley. It has about 1,000 students, only three majors: chemistry, chemical engineering, and chemical biology. Every single person I know that goes in the College of Chemistry is super passionate about what they do. They really form a really small, tight-knit community because there's only 1,000 of them as a selective program as you get in. Innovation and research that happens there. Something to note is that we have a partnership with the Department of Energy. So we have the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab that's located right in the Berkeley Hills. And through that partnership, we've actually discovered 16 chemical elements on our campus, which not many colleges can say. Berkeleyum, Californium, just to name a few, which I really love to point out every single time. I think Seneca is actually wearing a shirt that has berkelium on it, which is really cool. And the Lewis dot structure, something I also point out about this college. So our first dean of the College of Chemistry literally was teaching a class for undergraduate students he was having difficulty explaining how different atoms and electrons work across elements. So I don't really understand atoms and electrons. I don't understand Lewis dot structure. But anyway, he went to his office and he was like, okay, let's see what I can come up with. And he came out with the freaking Lewis dot structure. And now we use that to teach chemistry across the world. So it's not just something that we use here at Berkeley. Lewis dot structure, revolutionary in the field of chemistry. And again, #1 program ranked globally for chemistry.
True. I am wearing my berkelium shirt. Ta-da! It is the chemical thing that goes on the periodic table for berkelium. And I just think it is absolutely amazing that we have discovered so many elements at this school, and just really proves that whole legacy of innovation. I have taken so many classes in the College of Chemistry and I've loved all of them. I really cannot speak enough to how much fun this college is and just the incredible academics that come out of it. The next college we're going to talk about is our College of Engineering, and this college is a little bit larger than the College of Engineering, still smaller than Letters and Science, with about 3,800 students. And so there's actually 11 majors within our College of Engineering, so many different types of engineering that you can choose from. All of them do share a common technical breadth set of courses, so no matter what you go with, you're definitely choosing a major that's ranked in the top 9 for its specific specialty globally, which I think is just absolutely insane. Wow. The 11 majors, as I mentioned earlier, you would apply directly to those. So rather than just applying undecided or coming into the college and not really having a major chosen yet, you will be declared upon admission unless you choose this undecided pathway. And it is really great because you get to start working on those technical skills and all of these different things right away. And there are breadth courses as well to supplement those major courses, a few different humanities and social science breadths, just to really make sure that you're building a strong academic foundation no matter what you're studying. And there's also, as I mentioned, a ton of technical courses. I think all students in the college take math, physics, and programming. So definitely a great way to get educated on all of those and really just become amazing at engineering through this. We actually have a separate engineering virtual visit where we go really in depth to all of these majors and all the requirements and more about the college. And you can go visit, or you can go sign up for it on our website, which is linked on the slide. It's visit.berkeley.edu. And I highly recommend doing that. I present that to her as well, and it is so much fun. The mission of the College of Engineering, as you might have guessed, is to really just transform the lives of our students by preparing them to become successful leaders and innovators for positive change. So really just speaks to all of the amazing things that happen within this college.
And I know most of you guys are not thinking about graduate schools quite yet, but we're still going to talk about what we have to offer after you would have completed your 4 years here at Berkeley. A couple of programs that I like to highlight. The Haas School of Business is one that we highlight, especially for undergraduate students, because it's the only one that has an undergraduate program for business. So if you wanted to study business at Berkeley, the only way that you can do that is through the college, not the College of Haas, the School of Business at Haas. It's a business administration degree, and you apply into that after your during your sophomore year at Cal. And if you get in, you get into one of the best business schools in the nation. And if you don't, you might be able to choose something else, say like economics, political economy, but still take classes at the School of Business. It's not specific just to business students who can take classes at Haas. I'm taking actually a whole course load of Haas classes this year because they're just really awesome classes that I thought I wanted to add for whatever it is that I decided to do after Berkeley. And then you can also get involved earlier if you do the global management program. So that's one of the first year pathways that you can choose, or one of the programs that you can apply to as a first year student in order to create like your first year pathway. So you'd actually apply into that. It's obviously highly selective. They don't pick many students every year. And then you actually started here in the spring. Then in the fall, you actually start off your Berkeley career in London and then at one of our UC centers. And then you come back to Berkeley and complete the rest of your business degree here. But you'd be doing that much earlier than students who apply it after their first year here at Berkeley. A couple other schools, School of Information is one to highlight. They have a really awesome data science program that's picking up. It's really new here. It just started. And so that's one to highlight. Our School of Law, which is really awesome. Our School of Optometry, they have a whole optometry clinic on campus that serves students here at Berkeley and the community of Berkeley, like the city at large, which is awesome. School of Journalism, School of Public Health, School of Public Policy, just a ton of amazing places, and you can do a little bit more research after you're here at Berkeley. If you want to go to their individual websites, that'd be great as well.
Absolutely. One thing that I always love to highlight about having all these graduate students on campus is that they're there to learn, but they're also a great resource to learn from. As an undergraduate student, I think it's just having this resource of graduate students who've just been where you were before and who have kind of progressed into a different stage of their career, of their academic life. It's amazing to be able to ask them questions and be like, but what internships did you do? What advice do you have for me going into this field? And I honestly think that that is really encapsulated in our education or our instruction format. So we have a lecture and discussion model of education. So that's where you would usually have a larger lecture, maybe on Zoom, maybe in a lecture hall, and you're learning through that where either a professor, lecturer, or instructor is kind of just telling you about, I'm very excited about this, about a topic and walking you through concepts, maybe just going through the theory of a thing and really just how it applies to the world. But then in discussion sections, your graduate student instructor or GSI really just helps solidify your understanding of that material. So discussion sections can take the form of a discussion where you're just sitting, talking about the material, maybe looking at slides. It can take the form of a studio where you're designing a model to fit a certain theory, or it could even take the form of a wet lab where you're sitting there, doing experiments with chemistry and really just trying to learn how to calculate yield and how to do different types of reactions and all of that. So really, there are so many different kinds of discussion section. And I think that graduate students being there and helping you walk through the material you learned in lecture and really just solidify it helps a lot. And they also provide you with tons of awesome resources like practice tests, questions for the lecture material that will just help you kind of think about it in a different light. And I truly cannot speak enough about how amazing our graduate students are. I'm truly in awe of them every single day. Our class sizes as well are pretty good size. We have our 18-to-1 student faculty ratio, which I think is really incredible considering we have around 40,000 students on our campus. And 85% of those classes are actually fewer than 50 students, especially when you get into your more specific subjects. So for example, in the past 2 years, I've taken things like introductory chemistry or introductory biology, but now I'm taking a little bit more specific things like biophysical chemistry or cell engineering. And because of that, those are a lot smaller than my larger classes that I've taken in the beginning. So keep in mind that as you get more into your major, the classes will get a little bit smaller just because it's more interest in that subject. There's also, as I mentioned, so many opportunities for hands-on learning. I cannot even go through them in the space of an hour, but definitely invite you to check those out. And we support students throughout their journey at Cal. And those include like Student Learning Center, which is where you can go to get free tutoring, essay advice. You can form a study group there. And it's really just a great space to have a fellow student who's taken that class and done well, look over your work and help you understand anything that you might be a little fuzzy on. We also have individual advising for most of our departments, both colleges and majors. And you can actually ask for advisors regardless of whether they're or not. So if you want to go talk to someone and think, is this major right for me? That is totally an option and you can go for it. We also have additional mental tutoring that is really helpful sometimes for just understanding the material.
Awesome. Thank you, Seneca. We're also just over halfway through our presentation. So again, a reminder, send questions in the Q&A if you have them, but we still have a lot of information to cover. So please send those in. So a little bit about what we've been doing this semester. So obviously, we know the world is very different than what we thought it would be. So we are doing a virtual fall semester. We'll be continuing virtual through this semester. Fully remote, we had some hybridization goals, and there's still some opportunity for that for certain classes, specifically for research, based on CDC guidelines and based on what the City of Berkeley Public Health Department tells us is allowed for our campus. And we're working on that for the spring as well. But every single student has had still been able to get a Berkeley education. Every single student got Zoom Pro, which has allowed us to do different virtual sessions with our professors, with our discussion sections, research, and even like student organizations are able to use that to still meet and have a campus experience. There's synchronous and asynchronous learning that's happening. So some of them you do have to attend live if you miss a day. They're so recorded. And then there were some that are completely designed to be done asynchronously, meaning you can do it at your own time, which is really awesome. So that was a dedication that the campus put in to create that specific programs, especially designed for first-year students and for introductory courses to be able to do it at their own pace as we're all struggling through the times we're living in right now. A lot of resources still were able to be transferred virtually. A lot of the tech services transfer virtually, like Seneca mentioned, the Student Learning Center transfer virtually for their drop-in tutoring, like especially for any introductory classes, that's a priority there. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the semester in the cloud is something that we really pushed for this year. So we've been able to adapt fairly well to this new environment, and it's something that I really don't feel I've missed out just because we moved to virtual.
Absolutely. I think that the transition to virtual learning has actually been so smooth, especially this fall semester, once we had summer to kind of adapt and learn. And I'm definitely feeling a little bit more comfortable now with the whole Zoom, and popping into office hours has never been easier because I literally just jump out of my bed and I roll up to my computer, and it's basically like I'm FaceTiming with my professors, which I think is pretty cool. And the next thing we're going to talk about is housing and dining, and this one is absolutely huge. I know that I was really concerned about housing when I was coming into college because it's just a new experience living with other people and being away from home. And so typically we have both residential hall and suite style residential options. So that would be, a residential hall would be like a long corridor with lots of different doors where you can leave your door open and friends can come by and say hello, just hang out. It's really nice. And suite style is usually where 2 or 3 rooms will share a bathroom and maybe a living room or common space, so that there's a little bit more room for all of the people in that particular suite. Freshmen do get priority for our housing, and so about 96% of our freshmen live on campus, which I think just really speaks to how amazing our on-campus housing experience can be. And we also have so many resources available for those people that live on campus, including things like a residential assistant, also known as an RA. They are basically just there to provide a resource to residents and to do fun programming. I know my RA would do things like order pizza, and we would do game night in the common room, which was always so much fun. But also they're there if ever you're struggling and you need help or you're homesick, they can help you talk through it. My RA once made me cookies while we were just chatting, and I really felt like someone was there watching out for me as like a kind of older sibling almost. We also, as I've mentioned, have a lot of common areas that are open during a typical semester, some things like study rooms, laundry rooms, as well as billiards tables and ping pong, which I think is just so much fun because it's a great way to meet people. And a meal plan is included. So for those of us that might not be culinarily talented, then you have a lot of options to be able to get food. We have all different dietary types, really just, oh my goodness, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm so sorry. We have all different dietary types really accommodated for in our dining halls. And we actually have a dietitian on our dining staff who you can work with to create a specialized dining plan if that is something that you're interested in. Now, during COVID-19, housing does look a little bit differently just because we want to make sure that our students are safe. And so this year we're offering only single rooms. Students do wear face masks in common spaces, and there are actually social pods where students are grouped together by floor or by building, and they really get to meet the other people in their building and form that community without being too overexposed and having a lot of risk worried with coronavirus. So I've talked to a few of the freshmen on Zoom, and they seem to really like it. So definitely a very great adaptation to this new world that we live in.
Yeah, living in the dorms is really a very unique experience. I highly recommend why most of our students during their first year decide to live in the dorms. After your first year, though, if you are deciding where to live, you still can live in continuing student housing. So Cal Housing does offer students for our sophomores, junior, senior students. They can live in specific on-campus housing, like different properties that are either dorm setup or they're mini apartment setups, which are pretty cool if you wanted to continue that. There's International House. It's if you want to live with a bunch of international students, so very specific to international students. But even if you're not, you can still live there and work even there as an RA, which is a residential assistant there. There's affiliated properties that the university operates for our students. So they're built by someone else. The university takes over and signs all those leases to our students. And those are spread out throughout the city of Berkeley. So there's some closer to downtown, some closer to the center of Berkeley, some like right off of campus. So that's something that, and we're continually building that supply for our continuing students. Most students, however, do decide to live in off-campus housing. I'm doing that right now. I'm living in an apartment with friends. We just decided that we want to live together. We find an apartment, sign a lease, and we do that for the rest of my time that I've been here at Berkeley after I moved out of the dorms after my freshman year. There's co-op housing where you're living with a bunch of people and you're living for cheaper rent because you're all working different tasks around the house, cooking, cleaning, that kind of thing. And there's Greek housing. So if you're a member of the Greek community, you can live in Greek housing. 13% of our students are part of the Greek community. Not all of them live in Greek housing, but that's always a housing option. And for all these that I've mentioned before, there are meal plan options that you can buy. And so if you decide you don't want to be cooking your meals in your mini apartment or your off-campus apartment, you can buy a meal plan on campus and use that at the dining halls and cafes around campus. For more information about housing, please visit housing.berkeley.edu. You can get room tours. You can see virtual layouts of those different housing options and just see what you would have in store if you decide to live on campus.
Yeah, 100%. There are so many different housing options available for after your first year, after you finish living in on-campus housing. And I've had the ability to explore a few of them. So it's really been fun. You get to kind of see what you prefer and really experience Berkeley in its fullest. And of course, health and safety are still at the forefront of everything we do, especially right now, making sure that all of our affiliated members and community is protected. Right now, we actually have a ton of different resources available for like COVID testing, urgent care, primary care, physical therapy. We have the Tang Center, which is our on-campus hub for really just student health and making sure that all of our students are doing okay. There is, as I mentioned, all of those things above listed that are inside that building, as well as actually a diagnostics lab. So if you ever have like a blood test or need something done, they will really just be there for you to do that. We also have student health insurance. All of our students are required to be on some form of major medical insurance. And we have a student health insurance plan that students can opt into to do that. But we also totally accept that students can waive that if they would like to stay on their parents' insurance or employer's insurance, whatever. That is definitely an option just to make sure that everyone's safe. And as I've mentioned so many times, we have a plethora of COVID testing and tracing. We have multiple surveillance testing programs going on right now. We have that saliva study that I mentioned earlier, which is actually spearheaded by Jennifer Doudna at the Innovative Genomics Institute. So just another shout out. And we have both the saliva and nasal swab testing available. It's free to students. I'm using it even though I don't have the student health insurance plan because it's free. It's offered in like 5 different locations, and my roommates and I just want to make sure that we are being responsible and making sure that we're staying safe. We also have a ton of great FAQs, webinars, and tips through our health services. They do a little like healthy cooking thing every Wednesday where you can learn to make different dishes that are really good for you and nutritious, which honestly helps me because cooking is a struggle, let's be real. And then there's also psychological counseling. If you're ever just feeling like you need to talk to somebody, they are there for you. It's absolutely free for all of our students up to 5 times in a typical semester. And you can really just go and address anything that you might be feeling, talk to a professional, and seek the help that you need. Furthermore, we also have the Path to Care Center, which is a confidential resource for survivors of sexual violence and sexual harassment. And I honestly can speak, they are such a fantastic resource to have on our campus. They do both amazing confidential services for those survivors, but they also have fantastic outreach programs just to make sure that the larger campus community is aware of what to do if something were to occur and what the different options are as far as reporting and making sure that everyone gets the proper assistance and care that they need, because we just want to be there for our students and our community, especially just with everything going on and in the case of anything happening. We also have the Optometry Eye Center, which is where you can go to get your eyes checked. You can get glasses, contacts. I've heard that an eye exam is only $10 there, which I think is pretty cool. So definitely great. We actually have, of course, the School of Optometry that runs that. And then finally, many stress relief services through different organizations, such as Pause for Mental Health, which is where you can go on Sproul Plaza and go pet some dogs, really just hang out, kind of de-stress on your way to class, as well as Llama Palooza, which is kind of the same concept, just petting the llamas, except it's on our Memorial Glade and it's once a semester. So I have many selfies with the llamas and I really just treasure those because where else can you take a selfie with a llama? So definitely many resources available in health and safety for our community.
Yeah. And just to let you guys know, the audience, we're going to speed a little bit. We're getting towards the end of our tour, but we still want to get you all this amazing information. So now moving on to safety, there's a lot of safety resources to make sure our students are safe during their time here. I know a lot of students, this is their first time living in an urban environment, city environment. So there's a lot to make sure that you are safe on campus. We have our University Police Department that is located on campus that responds to any type of emergency where someone calls emergency services. They respond faster than the city of Berkeley does because they're right in the center of campus, which is really nice. Blue light poles are the same, can sound for an emergency. So if there's ever an emergency, you see a blue light pole, which are often in places that are not as trafficked. You just press one of the emergency buttons and someone comes to answer that, and they can get to your location under like 90 seconds, which is awesome. And then Warn Me is an alert system that we have. So every single one of our students is already enrolled in that. They'll get an alert anytime there's any type of emergency, a fire, there's bad air quality, that kind of thing. They'll get that through text notification or email notification, but you're already signed up. And then we talked about the 3-point safety system in the dorm. So your key, your key card, and then the key to get into your room, which is nice. So there's no one that doesn't live there can get in unless you've officially checked them in. And then night safety services. So we have the night safety shuttle, which is a little shuttle that operates throughout the day and operates throughout the night to make sure students can get from anywhere on campus to different dorms and even different apartments and centers of the city of Berkeley, which is really nice. And then Bear Walk, which you call up Bear Walk and a CSO, a student officer, goes to your location and can walk you. So you're never walking alone. And those are completely free for our students. We just want to make sure that you're not walking home alone or ever feeling unsafe during your time here at Berkeley.
Absolutely, can 100% vouch for those services. I've used them so many times and they are fantastic. The next thing we're going to talk about, oops, sorry about that, little error with the slide there, is student development. And so these are all resources that are really just there to support our students, provide them with opportunities and resources. And a lot of them do focus around identity and community, such as our Centers for Educational Justice and Community Engagement. These include things like our African American Student Development Program, Native American Student Development Program, and many, many more. These are really just there to provide those communities different resources and different opportunities to help them succeed here at Cal. We also have the Associated Students of the University of California, which is our student government, also known as the ASUC. And these are individuals there just really to make sure that they are advocating for the students and that the student voice is heard in decisions that the administration makes, which I think is really cool. We also have the Transfer Student Center and Undocumented Students Center, which are both there to support those populations and make sure that they have the resources, again, that they need to succeed here, And of course, we have a lot of great support and equity programs, such as our Disabled Students Program, which provides services such as captioning, note-taking, extended exam times, and much, much more, and our Basic Needs Center, which provides things like financial counseling, food, and many, many more. So I invite you to check those out on their website, because I really just think these are some fantastic resources to know about.
Yeah. So we've talked about all these amazing support services, amazing academics, housing, all this stuff. So what are we doing when we're not studying? There's a lot of student life activities that you can be participating in. We have over 1,000 registered student organizations. They're incredible organizations. Basically anything that you can think of, there's a club likely here at Berkeley that you can find. So if you go to callink.berkeley.edu, you can find all the list of clubs that are available. You type in your interest and you're sure to find a club. And if not, you can start it yourself. So that's one part of what you can do here. There's a lot of volunteering. Like I talked about earlier, the Public Service Center is a great way to get involved and have someone directly tell you places in the community that you can get involved in. Berkeley, Oakland, San Francisco, those our surrounding communities. There's a lot of campus employment opportunities. Being a campus ambassador like Seneca and I are is a way that you can work on campus. Campus research, working in one of the libraries, working at one of the dining halls as an RA. There are plenty of opportunities for you to work on campus, whether it's related to maybe your field of study or not. And there's also partnerships within the Bay Area of places you can work. Out of internship opportunities, we are in Silicon Valley and right across from San Francisco. So if you're interested in that kind of environment, that's something that you'll have here and easy access to that because you do have a bus pass. That's part of your student fee. So you can use that to get around. You don't have a car. Most students don't actually have cars to get around because it's so walkable and so accessible with public transportation. Study abroad, something you can do right from the beginning at Berkeley, like I mentioned. It's one of your the first year pathways if you want to do a global program. And then you can do it as one of your summers as an extra semester even. So something to consider. And there's a lot to do in the Bay Area, like I mentioned. There's plenty of opportunities. Right now, it's a little bit different. We're also having to be socially distant. Not everything is open, but once we get back to what we consider normal, there's plenty of things for you to experience in the Bay Area.
Absolutely. I cannot speak enough to the awesome ways to have fun here at Berkeley. We also have a lot of great remote resources for connecting with people and building a community while we are all separated physically. So things like social media networks. We are a huge Facebook group school. We have tons of different Facebook groups centered around memes, different housing pages to help students find housing when they get back, and so many different ways to connect with fellow students online. And there's also lots of student groups and clubs that have transitioned really extremely well to being in an online format. They have things like social hours where you can go and meet other members of the organization, and online adaptations of things like fundraisers or different events that are trademark of different organizations, but that now they are really just adapting and expanding even their audience and their accessibility to be in this online format. Department webinars are another thing that I personally love to take advantage of. There's so many professional and personal development opportunities. You can go to career fairs. You can go to meet and greets with professors, or like coffee chats with professors where they just all sit on Zoom and you've got your coffee or your tea or your beverage and you're just really chatting with them and getting to know people. We also have guest lecturers. Actually, last week we had Dr. Anthony Fauci speak here at the Berkeley Forum. I went to that. It was absolutely amazing just hearing his perspective and his years of experience, really just talking about different infectious diseases, especially the coronavirus. So I highly recommend guest lecturers if that's something you're interested in. And then finally, Golden Bear Orientation, which is our orientation module for both new incoming freshmen and incoming transfer students, is a way that has been transitioned online to really just get to know more people and people in your cohort so that you have that community right from the beginning. And that includes advising, preparation, and networking all in one. So just a lot of ways to connect, even though we are online this semester.
Yeah, Golden Bear Orientation, very unique to our campus, but an amazing program to bring our community together. Talking about athletics, so we have a history of amazing athletic programs. We're a Division I school. They didn't already know that. So if you participate in Division I, you're in an amazing program to be able to compete in the Pac-12. But if you're not a student athlete, you can still participate in sports in club and intramural/recreational. So club, you're still wearing a Cal emblem, but not the same stress levels or the same official capacity as a student athlete is. And then intramural, it's literally just friends playing against friends. So like one dorm room against another, that kind of thing. California Memorial Stadium is our center for student athletes. The Simpson High Performance Center is located just underneath our stadium, which is really awesome. It's where all their study spaces are, all their training facilities are, hangout spots. That's where Student Athlete Central is for our campus, which is really awesome. House Pavilion is our gymnasium for when anytime we have a basketball game, a gymnastics meet, volleyball, women's volleyball. Those happen inside of House Pavilion. A lot of like other large scale events happen in there. But right behind it is the recreational sports facility. The recreational sports facility is just your classic gym for any type of gym equipment that you're looking for, but especially a lot of cool exercise classes. So like kickboxing, weight training, all those things are accessible from the recreational sports facility. And again, already included in your student fees. And those are for even transition virtually. So I hope they keep those even when we're not social distancing, because they really have expanded the reach of the RSF, being able to do those exercise classes from the comfort of your home. And then we have a long history of sending student athletes to the Olympics. We have 207 Olympic medals. And actually this past year, our swimming coach is actually going to be the coach for Team USA at the Olympics. So we have a really strong athletics department here at Berkeley.
Absolutely. I think athletics is such a fun part of college, and really just getting to support fellow student athletes, whether it be cheering them on online or in person. And our last bit is that libraries and research is such a huge component of Berkeley. We are a public research institution. It is very important to us, and we have a lot of different spaces on our campus to do research, and many libraries as well that are great for studying. We've got 24 official libraries. Actually, I have visited 18 out of the 24, and I'm hoping to reach 24 when I get back to campus. And we actually have 13+ million volumes within those libraries. And those include extensive online resources. So the last semester I was doing a paper, I needed to find this one particular primary resource, and it was available online. So I didn't even have to stress about trying to figure out how to access it. And it was so easy. The library is fantastic, and they will really help you out. As you can see, there are many buildings pictured here that are our libraries. So definitely come visit those when we are back in person. We also have so much research happening on our campus, as you may have guessed. We have an undergraduate research apprenticeship program, also known as URAP, which is where students get paired with a faculty mentor, and they really just get that research experience in undergrad, as well as department-specific opportunities. So many, many ways to get involved with research while you're here at Cal.
And just to wrap up things, a couple of campus highlights. We're located, like I said, in the city, but we also have a lot of nature around us. So it's a really good mix of both. You're walking through campus, you're encounter eucalyptus grow, a creek running through the whole center of campus, plenty of things to do there, like the fire trails, the hills behind campus with the Big C hike where you can see the entire Bay Area. So it's a really nice mix of the urban, like rural, and you can see that once you become a student here that there's plenty for you to pick from if you decide to live in the south side, in north side, close to the hills. There's plenty for you to do. And now we'll wrap up with how we usually wrap our tours, telling a little bit about why we chose Berkeley.
Sorry about that. My mute was not working. But yeah, definitely talking about how we chose Berkeley is just always such a powerful part for me to be able to reflect on all of the things that have fallen into place for me to be here today. And I just really always like to highlight how I was choosing between 3 different schools towards the end there. I kind of applied to Berkeley not knowing too much about it because I'm from Southern California, and I really just didn't have any awareness of it as a person growing up. And when I got in, I was like, wow, this is incredible. And I started researching the programs, all the academics, and the amazing location that we have, as you can see pictured here. And I just really fell in love with it. I was really torn because I had 3 schools that I was really in love with. And so I decided to join those incoming Facebook groups that I mentioned earlier. This is where people will post to try and find friends or roommates ahead of the school year. And I literally just fell in love with all of the people that were on this page. They all had such amazing passions and stories that were just absolutely like unique. I had never heard of some of their different activities before or some of their interests. And I remember thinking, wow, these are really people that I can grow with and learn from in the next 4 years. And so that's my advice to all of you. When you're choosing a college, be sure to think about how the people are going to help you grow and what you can learn from them. And really, are you going to be the person that you want to be in 4 years because of this college? And if so, then you might want to give it a yes, because for me, Berkeley has been that and was that. And I honestly have never regretted my decision to come here. I think it has just been an amazing place, and it's really the people that make it special. So go Bears.
Go Bears, indeed. Thank you, Seneca, for sharing that. But yeah, I completely agree with what a lot of what Seneca said. The people are really what make it, and the people were why I decided to choose Berkeley. I decided on Berkeley after coming to one of our open house events, Cal Day, which happens in the spring. This past year we did a virtual. We'll see what happens this coming year, but I highly encourage you to attend that. But I really just saw what the entire campus had to offer. I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do during my time here at Berkeley, but I knew that whatever it is that I decided to do would be amazing. Top programs, as you saw through our academics, top students from all over the country, all over the state of California, all over the world, really, that really do build you up. We have a reputation of being like a very high stakes competitive environment, but it really is to your benefit. It builds you up. We have amazing students that are in line to be like your next Nobel laureate, have established their own businesses, are working on amazing startups. So you can find more about our amazing alumni there, but they really do build you up. And I've been able to find my place with Cal Spirit. That's why I chose Berkeley. I wanted to go to a big public university with a lot of spirit, going out to those games, going out to different events. That's why I chose Berkeley. I've been involved with that, and creating that community of Golden Bears is really awesome. Something I've been proud to be a part of. So thank you so much for joining us today. It was such a pleasure to be able to introduce you guys to our campus on this open house event. To contact us for further information, please visit our website, tour@berkeley.edu, but not only our website, visit us on our social medias at Visit UC Berkeley. We can answer questions on any of those platforms as an ambassador can respond to those questions. Follow our blog, the Bear Talk blog, beartalk.berkeley.edu. Like I said, we'll have this recorded session on our website, and you'll find more of those resources on our YouTube page. A lot of our resources for COVID, coronavirus.berkeley.edu, you can find them there. For 150 Years of Women, 150w.berkeley.edu, and for different admissions presentations, you can visit the admissions presentation. But thank you again. Oh, also our engineering visits, visit.berkeley.edu. Everything, visit.berkeley.edu. Thank you again for being with us today. I hope you got a lot from this experience, and hope to see you soon. Go Bears!
Go Bears!